Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, we are talking about celebrity aura news. I mean, I have so much to bring up in aura color today. I can't even list it all. It is a packed schedule here. And of course, I had to bring on the biggest fan of pop culture news there is. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. Yes. As everyone knows, these are my favorite episodes.
They are.
I mean, last week I was researching Teddy Roosevelt and his daughter Alice, but, you know, what's that compared to talking about the Dallas cheerleading team?
That's what we're going to talk about first. Okay, so...
All right, let's get right into it. Yeah.
The Netflix had this series, I think it was called like America's Sweethearts, and man, I inhaled this show like it was a handful of Skittles. I consumed it.
I watched 20 minutes of one episode
Right.
and stormed out of the room and just was angry the rest of the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. But we're going to save judgment for later.
Okay.
First, I'm going to talk about it in aura color. So
All
I
right.
wanted to start with the adults, I guess.
Okay.
The big girls. So the leader of the team is a lady named Kelly Finglass. And she has red or brownish hair, like reddish hair. And then there's Judy Trammell, who is they've been partners doing this forever. And this isn't a new show. Like, this show is reworked for Netflix, but it's been on in other syndicates and whatnot. So Kelly and Judy have been working together forever. And let me start there. If you watch the show, Kelly is in charge. She is red and purple. So she's got major leadership energy. She's also intuitive and creative, and that's her purple. And together, she just, red, purples. And may I have the disclaimer now? Auras are not excuses, but they do explain behavior. Intention is individual for every person. So I'm not saying every red, purple. When I talk about an aura color, I'm not saying this is what that aura color does. I'm saying this is how that aura color behaves if they're operating off a certain intention. So anyway, so for Kelly, I feel like this team has a vibe. And she serves the vibe. She serves the vibe of the team. And I feel like that is where a lot of the problems come off of when we all watch this. But it's also the thing that everyone wants to be. They don't pay these cheerleaders a lot. And they say that. But the currency here is definitely that you get to be the ideal female. And I'll put quotes around that, because that is the currency they're serving these women, a sort of self-worth. And Kelly totally has the vibe down, and she will say it like it is. And I did notice they use a lot of coded language like Kelly, but because she's so blunt, I feel like it's hard for her to use, the word, hey, are you fueling enough instead of, are you eating? It's hard for her to not be blunt, even when she's using, quote, softer words, or, she's dancing around something, but she can't, which is such a red purple attribute. Like, they're just going to say it. But Kelly, to me, feels like she's the planner. She has a vision, but in typical red purple, yeah. And I feel like if you understand this, a lot of you who aren't yellow, you can get very overwhelmed if you have the vision, but you don't know how to do it. So enter Judy, who is yellow purple. She's got the long blonde hair, and she's there. And I feel like she listens to what Kelly says. They're like almost feel like a married couple to me. Like, Kelly has her idea, and Judy obviously figures it out. I feel like Kelly can talk big and stuff and says a lot, and Judy is understanding it, comprehending it, synthesizing it, creating systems for it, all that. They are definitely a team, and I don't think Kelly could work very well without Judy. And I bet you anything Kelly has probably said that and would say that. Then there's the daughter of the owner, which you actually know, because I said Charlotte Jones is the daughter of the owner.
Yeah, actually, I do know the owner, Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
And I could probably name 2 NFL owners.
Oh.
Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, and I think Robert Kraft of the Patriots.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know any other owners. So the question is, why do I know Jerry Jones? He's kind of like that flashy owner. He always wants to be in the spotlight.
Okay.
Even maybe some more than his team even.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like the brand, the Jerry Jones brand. And again, I don't know a lot about him, but, he's always on the sidelines. He's very visible.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that plays into any of this. Having like
does.
A cheerleader, I guess the greatest NFL cheerleader squad there is.
Yes,
according to the documentary. So that must play into this somehow with Jerry Jones.
Totally, yeah. He's red purple too.
Okay.
He's an older man, and the way that he does his work is very, like you said, like flashy. Comes across like that on the show and whatnot. But his daughter is Charlotte, and she's yellow purple. So this is like a whole. By the way, they're very family. It's like a family franchise, and Charlotte she's just a little. She comes across to me like a bit cold. So again, that can be a yellow trait sometimes if they're like, well, that's not what I said. This is what we're doing. There's this one scene where Charlotte, there's this really good cheerleader, but she's short. Now, she didn't look short to any of us watching. We're like, but she was trying so hard and she was so good. But Charlotte's like basically cut her because she was too short, and it's like, ouch. And I think like everybody watching, by the way, that cheerleader made it to the Dolphins cheerleaders and she's a Dolphins cheerleader now. I looked this up. But Charlotte comes in and she's just like, that doesn't fit the brand. Everything's the brand. So like what you were talking about with the family.
Yeah.
This is the brand. Like these are, go ahead.
So can I just ask how the power dynamic works here? Because I only watched 20 minutes of the show. So you have Kelly and Judy. They're like the people who pick the cheerleaders, or does Charlotte, the daughter's owner, have the final say? Yeah. She has the final say.
This seems like this is Charlotte's thing. And she was probably appointed to it by dad. And then she wanted the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Like, I think back in the 70s, this really took off. Then she hired Kelly.
Okay, so
Kelly's been there. So, like, Kelly bows to no one. But when Charlotte shows up, the energy shifts so much. Charlotte has final say.
Okay.
And Charlotte feels freaking scary to me. Like one of those people that can come in cool, calm, collected, and she basically does not have to raise her voice to get something done. She kind of reminds me of what's that show in Ted Lasso, the owner of the soccer team, that blonde lady. That's what she reminds me of. Like really scary and stuff. Anyways, but a lot of it is because she's yellow, so she's just very
okay.
Like
so
that.
This is going to be hard. I don't know if you can answer this.
Okay,
I put you on the spot here. And so when you said Kelly is purple red.
Yeah.
So is there a way for you to tell when Charlotte enters the room? Yeah. Now Kelly has to talk to Charlotte, correct, to get the final word, whatever the final say. Does her aura shift?
Yeah.
Is the color shift or?
She's way more submissive. So when I notice when Kelly is kind of talking to the girls, like the cheerleaders and girls, like she is bright red.
Bright red. Okay.
Yeah. But when she's like the dynamic with Charlotte, and I bet watching it, like they seem like friendly for sure. Like they've known each other forever and they can level with each other and they're comfortable in that respect. Okay. But submissive. Like Kelly only has lasted this long because she knows her place. And her place is like she's never quite relaxed enough to feel super comfortable, if that makes sense.
So what do you see in the aura? Like does that red go from that bright shiny red to like a dull red, or
it's
the purple
still there? Yeah. It's just like it's almost like if Charlotte Jones was the silverback and there was another male gorilla, like, okay, it's up to you. Go ahead. You're in charge. Like there's a respect.
Okay.
There's kind of like, there is respect. Like she respects Charlotte, but she fears Charlotte too. But this also doesn't feel negative to Kelly for some reason. I feel like there's kind of, it's almost like a dog-eat-dog, like alpha beta power like wolf pack situation.
Yeah. I think that's interesting with reds.
Okay.
Because like, let's say you get, and maybe you can even tell me this about my aura. Okay. I know I always make about myself. If when we're at the gym, we're at the Y, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of probably red dudes there.
Oh yeah.
Right. And I talk to everyone there and I hang out with everybody.
So
I'm assuming I'm hanging out with a lot of reds. Mm-hmm. Does my red get like a little duller? Because sometimes I'll be, with another red, I could be a little more subservient too. I think, right? My red could dull from that shiny red or whatever, that bright red.
I notice with you.
Or does it get brighter?
I notice with you, And this is funny because I actually had this conversation with one of the trainers,
Yeah.
Chuck.
Yeah.
And he said he's really red.
Yes.
And he's like, Megan, I like to be a big fish in a little pond. And I'm like, that is a red aura thing.
Right.
I call it BMOC, like the big man on campus.
Right. Chuck's a big man there.
Yeah. Or you could say like you like to be a big fish in a little pond.
Sure.
I think red auras like to be a big fish in a little pond.
Okay.
You know, they like their little spaces where they're the guy or the girl. Like they're the person. They like that. And then they like that control. I notice with you when someone's like a little bit extra red or more dominating of an energy, you avoid them a little bit. Like kind of like and then there's a part of you that just even wants to ignore them or pretend they don't exist.
Okay.
So, and I feel like because red auras to me always give me kind of more animalistic tendencies.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like if two male lions, and this is any red, would be like the leader. I just unfortunately have to do male in the nature world. But like anyways, if two male lions were like, you know what, we can't both have our own prides, you know, and they're like, okay, see ya, you know, like I'll go on this side of the plains and you go to that side of the plains or whatever.
Okay.
So I feel like that is a red aura thing. Yeah. Having said that, Kelly is surrounded by, you know, Charlotte's a yellow, and then her partner in crime there, Judy, is also a yellow. So I feel like Kelly does know how to speak yellow. And she also hears a lot of what Charlotte says, but then Judy picks up, okay, this is how we're going to do what Charlotte wants you to do. Because Kelly's got a lot of the vision and the flame. I mean, I could talk about her all day. Okay. All right. So anyways, she's very intimidating to the girls.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about a couple of the standout girls in the special, but I wanted to start with Victoria, who, yes, I totally DM'd her. I'm like, please, come on, Know Your Aura podcast. She's probably really busy and distracted, so you all have to bug her to come on Know Your Aura podcast. I did try, because she's pink purple, but she wears inauthentic yellow. Now, I'm going to go through this quick, and then I'll come back and explain it more in depth. Her mom, who I think her name's Tina, is pink yellow as well. So just to review, Victoria, when I see her, and I feel like this is really a sensitive thing, like the poor girl's cracking, and you see it in the show. And I feel like, and there's a lot, and it's very obvious. You could tell it's not even scripted for the documentary. The girls aren't as embracing of her, like the other cheerleaders, kind of, they don't include her as much. She feels like, you know, the girl who tries to hang out with the popular girls, and they're not mean to her, but they're also not inclusive, you know, like nobody's saying don't be here. Nobody's being outwardly nasty, but they're also not embracing of her, you know, and you see her struggle with this, and you see her trying so hard. And what I noted and how I see it in Aura color is an inauthentic yellow. Like she's trying to be perfect, and I feel like she's trying to be her mom's version of a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Like that whole whatever that narrative is she grew up with, I feel like she took it from mom, and she's like, okay, now I have to do this, and then I have to say this, and then I have to be that. But when I see Victoria, and I was like actually crying during this documentary because there was this one scene, and I'm getting like emotional thinking about it. Victoria was like walking into kind of a senior center, and you could tell the elderly people just loved her. You know, she's a gentle, sweet person. Anybody that came up to her, you could tell she genuinely was in that moment, making them feel special and loved and seen. And there was this one part where they were all coming in because their bus driver got into a car accident. No, he had a heart attack or something. And then she visited him. Same thing. Like she just has this ability to make people feel special. And I just wanted her to, and I think we all saw that and we're like, don't you know how special you are? Like you don't need other people to tell you anything, you know? So I get with her chasing approval from places where she's never going to get it. And that being a pattern for her, even in the last episode, a spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't watched it, all right. In the last episode, like she's going into the meeting and she has to tell Kelly and Judy whether she's going to try out again next year. And she's trying so hard to get Kelly to say, you're so good, we want you to come back, please try again. And they won't say it. They're so freaking withholding. it's like they know she needs it and they refuse to give it to her, you know, and she is a bit needy for it.
Right.
You know, and someone like me, and I think a lot of us watching, it's like, come here, I'm giving you a hug. You're perfect. Of course, try out. You're so sweet. They would never say that to her because she needs it. And that's not the business they're operating in. Okay. They operate in lack. How, you know, like there is that you cannot do this if you don't feel, if you feel good about yourself 100%, this won't work for you because this franchise is about you're not perfect. You're not there yet. That's the only way this works. Anyway, so, and then the thing with Victoria with her mom, now her mom's pink yellow. And I think a lot of people were saying, oh, the mom's toxic. All right, this is how I see it. Okay. And listen, people do their best. I really feel that way. I feel like mom was trying really hard to parent her kid in the only way mom knew how to do it. She's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do that. We're going to make you a dancer. We're going to make you a cheerleader. Like this is the things that made me happy. This is the path I took. So let's do this for you. So to me, it felt very scripted, maybe without her knowing she was doing that to her kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it says here in the notes that she's been on the team for 5 years.
Yes.
This was her 5th season.
Yeah.
And she made it, or spoiler alert,
Spoiler alert.
Did she make it?
She decided not to try out again, and she's moved to New York.
Okay.
And she's pursuing other opportunities.
Okay.
Which is great. But she struggled with eating disorders. I mean, it was heartbreaking mental health struggles. Like she had to take a year off. I mean, it was just like, it's like, this isn't a good space for you to be in. You know, I think we could all tell.
Right.
But her mom wasn't really telling her that, you know? So I think.
Well, unfortunately, I assume if she doesn't figure out this pattern, Victoria,
she's
just going to fall into this again in New York City.
I know.
With the Sharks of New York City, right?
I know, because she wants to join the Rockettes or something.
Okay.
But so now she's doing something that the Pink Aura chat has called the Pink Aura punch.
Yeah.
Because what happened is now she's talking. And she said there's this heartbreaking scene where it's her birthday. And it's just her and her mom and this big old cake. And the whole room's like they bought pink balloons. And it's like it looks like it should have been a party for like 20 people, but it's just her and her mom. It is the most heartbreaking thing you've ever seen. And her mom's helping her make TikToks and stuff. I think she's turning 24. I mean, it's so sad. And then she's sitting there in front of her cake, which she's like terrified of eating. And she says to her mom, I feel like I'm behind in life. And that's such a Pink Aura thing to feel, by the way, but it's also just so sad. And it came out, well, she says that she invited all the girls and nobody showed up. And then the cheerleaders are saying that never happened, you know? So there's like a little, who knows, but maybe she did feel that way.
Well, I will tell you, Victoria, if you ever listen to this, you are invited to be in the Mystic Michaela's Riddle family. We'd actually love to have you on the podcast.
Yes.
And maybe all of our listeners could reach out to Victoria. I don't know what her Instagram is. We could get that for you.
It's not hard to find.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. I'm sure it's blowing up right now.
Right.
And invite her on the show.
Yeah,
we definitely want to have her.
I definitely tried. I know this is going long.
Okay.
But real quick with Reese. So Reese is pink blue. It was her first year. She's super religious. And a big thing now I just wanted to talk about somebody like kind of, and then we can stop here. Reese seemed to do fine. Is what I'm trying to say. So how come one struggles and one does fine? So it's Reese's first year in there. She's like getting in there. She's doing it. She always wanted to. She's telling her and fiance, like, you better move here because I made the team and long distance doesn't work for me. She's like advocating. So this is her thing. She's extremely religious. What I noticed, she kept saying that when I see people, she's saying when people see me, I want them to see my faith. And I want them to see God and I want to be a vessel for his glory. Like she says that a lot. Now, this is where I think this helped her because it's kind of like offsetting the attention and the critique in a way so that when she's getting like, hey, you know, you have to work on this, you have to work on that, you have to work on this. For her faith becomes kind of like the place where she can put that. Like she has got a bigger purpose, if that makes sense. So when she's improving on herself, she feels like she's doing it for the greater good. And I think that actually helped her offset a lot of the stress and pressure. Anyway, she does fine.
Okay.
It's just kind of interesting to see how some people seem not to struggle as much as others. So,
okay. All right, yeah. And let's just run through a couple more names you have on the list. Just tell us their colors. I don't know who these people are, but they're listed here. So Kelsey, what color is Kelsey?
Kelsey's the nurse, by the way. She was a 5-year veteran. She's like blue to go. And I saw purple and yellow. Okay. I feel like the yellow was a little inauthentic.
And then there's Anna Kate.
Anna Kate and Caroline were the sisters. Okay. Anna Kate's yellow purple. She's like totally new on the squad. And then Caroline is red purple. And she just has a really hard time like with the identity, struggling to find it after.
All right. And the last one I have on the list is Kat.
Kat there weren't a lot of black girls on there. She's yellow purple. And I loved how she in yellow purple fashion, she totally understood how screwed up all this was. Like she's like spilling all the beans. She's like, yeah, I make as much as like a full-time Chick-fil-A worker, like but yet she was still doing it. So I think that worked for her. She's like, yeah, my hip's all messed up. What are you going to do? She understood exactly how screwed up this whole world was, but also I think that helped her balance it.
Okay. Now I'll just kind of add my take on this.
Go ahead.
My 20 minutes. By the way, I watched for 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I just talked about it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I watched less than you actually talked about it. I could not stomach it.
I know.
I forgot already the two ladies' names that you mentioned. Front.
Kelly and Judy.
They just left this bad taste. How they were talking to the girls. But I guess my biggest problem with it was here you have all these girls. They're working as hard as they possibly can. They're all going to surgeries for their hips and all these bad surgeries that they're going to have and probably will have to have later in life. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, for what?
Yeah.
You're doing this in front of a bunch of guys at a football game who probably had 3 beers already, cheering for people that throw a football. I mean, that's what I couldn't wrap my head around it and you probably can put this in better words than I can, but it just bothered me so much that these young ladies were doing this, I guess, for that purpose. I don't know.
There's 2 sides of the coin. The first one is these are women who get to dance at a very high level in their field with a lot of people watching and appreciating it.
I understood that. But
the flip side is they are just totally ruled by a misogynistic culture. Yeah. This is an ideal of beauty that was not created by women, yet it is enforced by women. And I think it's very infuriating to watch women enforce other women on the rules that they didn't even make.
Right.
And I think that's hard to watch. Well, so 2 things can be true.
Yeah. That's probably all coming down from the mastermind, who's Jerry Jones.
Right. Well, America's Sweethearts, they're supposed to be like your boyfriend.
Yeah.
They're your girlfriend.
Right. Your girlfriend.
This is what your girlfriend, this is your girlfriend. Right. You're a Cowboys fan. Here's your girlfriends. Whoa. I mean, it's a very, I think it was an honest show to watch and it was interesting.
It just seems so outdated to me. Like I
mean,
it's
like, not.
No, I know. But it's
I know.
We're in 2024. Could we not have cheerleaders for guys playing football? I mean, is that something we could get rid of?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe am I wrong? I don't know. This just feels dirty to me.
It's creepy.
But
I think because you have daughters too.
Yes.
So you're like, ew. You don't like all these, like you would imagine your daughter out there. You wouldn't want these like creepos looking at them that way.
No.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You're right. I get you.
Yeah, so anyway, 20 minutes, I said, I'm not watching this. I can't watch this.
Oh, it's good. And I hope there's a season 2. Right, I do, because I watched that in like 2 days.
I am not watching that one. But all right. There is a show I watch sometimes. When we get back, we're going to be talking about Justin Timberlake and Jonathan McKnight.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
Well, guess what package we just got delivered?
I know. I just saw it. It was in the middle of taping. It's Wild Grain. I want it. I want it all. I want the 3 cheese sourdough loaf. I want the croissants, chocolate croissants. Actually, anything they make, I want it.
Everything. I don't have a favorite because everything's so good, but I have to say the 3 cheese sourdough loaf.
That's amazing.
It's
amazing.
So, like the crust on it. It was just, I can't explain how delicious it is. Wild Grain is the first ever bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries. Every item bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less, no thawing required, and you can now fully customize your Wild Grain box so you can choose any combination of breads, pastas, and pastries. You can even build a box of only breads, only pastas, or only pastries if you'd like. For a limited time, you can get $30 off the first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/KYA to start your subscription. You heard me, free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/KYA. That's wildgrain.com/KYA, or you can use promo code KYA at checkout. Oh my God, Scotty.
What?
Jebediah just unfollowed you on Instagram.
Oh no. This is going to ruin the tour.
What tour?
The world tour.
And with that, we're talking about Justin Timberlake. Did we have to rehearse that like 8 times?
We did.
We did.
We did.
And I'm not too proud to admit that.
No.
All right. So what are we talking about? I mean, obviously, if you've been living under a rock like Scott, if you didn't know that Justin Timberlake was arrested in the Hamptons not too long ago, allegedly driving while intoxicated. I mean, it's an ongoing thing.
Isn't that a common thing to get arrested for drunk driving in the Hamptons? Like a lot of,
I don't know,
Real Housewives do, right? No?
Yeah, I mean, it's never a good look.
No.
So obviously he was worried about his world tour coming up, which I'll give it to him. The guy went right into after, and
hey, I'm going to tell you something. And I know I should leave my analysis to the end, but
okay.
Could this be a publicity stunt? Because I went to look at, because once I heard that he had gotten the drunk driving, allegedly, I went to Ticketmaster, whatever, StubHub.
Yeah.
And I went to see his concerts
for
the world tour.
Yeah.
And I went to the one in Florida that's near us, and like none of the seats are sold.
Okay.
It was like, so maybe he like wanted to get in, like
that's what you thought
he wanted to get into the news. Yeah.
That's what you thought, but
that's what I thought.
That's a weird way to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a purple bomb.
Oh, okay.
All right, so let's talk about that.
Okay.
So Justin Timberlake has a green and purple aura. I mean, he's had a rough year. I feel like he's had a rough year. He's Britney Spears kind of really went after him. He left the country for a while. She didn't go after him. She just said what happened. And it's just not a good look on him, And so let's just talk about what he looks like. When I see Justin, and I took a look at some pictures of time, if I didn't know who this was, let's just start there. And I was looking at this guy's picture, and let's say it's your brother or something in a reading, I'd be like, okay, are we worried about his mental health? Because I feel worried about his mental health. And that's because his purple is not cool looking. It is lava eruption, like all over the place, very messy. It's gotten a lot worse in the past couple of years. The green is very fractured, so I feel like he has less control over himself. And I'm just a little bit, and again, auras are not excuses, but they can explain behavior. So this is not an excuse. This has nothing to do with my own thoughts on this. This is just, I feel like he's not in a good spot mentally, obviously. And I feel like this is something that's a problem that needs help to go away. And I feel like he's the type that he's good at, all right, I'm going to just cold turkey. And that's how he does it for a while. Like, I think he has his problems, his mental health issues, his low spots, his rock bottoms. And then he uses them to motivate himself into cold turkey, perfect behavior, rigid. I'm going to do this. This is my schedule. I'm on this, like that, like very green. The green will take over, but in a very rigid way. And then what happens is the purple builds, and then it bombs them again. I feel like with him, and this is a weird thing to say because a lot of us probably don't have, like, it's hard to sympathize with somebody that has this much money. And that's true. But I feel like how do I even say this? And I don't even know if this is true. And I can see people being like, oh, come on. I feel like he worries about not having enough. I know.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like this tour and stuff, he was so terrified about bombing it and not selling it out and having the same problem as a lot of artists lately have had, like J-Lo and whatnot.
Well, I could see that because like I said earlier in my theory, which might be wrong, that the stadium was empty and the tickets were there.
And I think he's old. I don't know. He's older. He's my age. He could be a little older than me. I don't know how old he is. And then I think he's like I think he freaked out. And it's kind of like, but what if I didn't have to do it? Like, what if I didn't have to face empty crowds? What if I didn't have to face stadiums that didn't sell out? What if I didn't have to face it because this happened? because I got my DWI or whatever, you know. The purple bombs, just to review, are something that purple aura people can do in order to create change by means of self-destruction. So it can be something like this, like this situation is a total purple bomb. Or it could be, you know, in daily life, maybe, I don't know, you want a new car and, you know, and maybe you mess up your car, you don't take care of it. You never take it for its oil changes and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, my car died. Guess I got to get a new car, you know, like that. But purple bombs are never a healthy way to do things. Or you hate your job. So instead of taking your 2 weeks notice and getting a new job and doing it in a more personally responsible way and listening to yourself and doing it in a way that respects you and, you know, you get in trouble for gossiping by the water cooler, or you erupt at your boss or something, or you just stop showing up one day or whatever. So purple bombs make you look bad, but they do, you know, give you the change that you're craving. And usually I'll say with purple bombs, the bigger the bomb, the more the person does not like themselves. Because a purple bomb ends up kind of like punishing you in the way you feel you need to be treated in order to leave something. What's crazy is that I feel like this, I don't know if this did help him or not with his tour sales, but there is a lot of people at his concerts. What's weird is just from my own life, people who went to his concert, like they're like, I don't know, it's almost like he's getting a weird praise for being this way, which really is awful.
Well, then my theory is correct. That's what I thought. That's what I'm saying. Like nobody's talking about him.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with J-Lo. Nobody's talking about her anymore. They're talking about the TikTok stars, right? They're talking about Noah Kahan and you know his music. On TikTok. They're not talking about Justin Timberlake.
They're talking
anymore.
about Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan.
Right.
Those kind of guys are hot, and I don't know, some of the female artists like
Scott's struggling.
Olivia
Rodrigo. Good, Scott.
Yeah, got that one.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Right.
Right.
Like those are the people that are selling their tickets.
Yeah.
And of course Taylor Swift's taking a huge market.
Yeah.
So the kids and the younger crowd, they're spending their money on these tickets, on the Carpenter ticket, the Swift ticket.
Yeah.
There might not be any more room for the J-Lo ticket or the Timberlake ticket. So to me, it's like, oh, he got himself in the news.
Yeah.
And then I think that he was making weird jokes at the concert too.
He was. He's like making jokes about drinking and driving. Like, this isn't funny, dude.
Now you might want to go because now you're seeing that on TikTok or you're seeing it on Instagram. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, let me look at that ticket. Yeah. Well, it's a lot cheaper than the Taylor Swift ticket. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go get a Justin Timberlake ticket.
And I think this gave him the toxicity to kind of like, oh, I'm going to make this work because I have to.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to motivate yourself. And it's a weird way to try to get out of something. Yeah. But I feel like, bottom line, if this was like my brother or something, I'd be very worried about his mental health and his struggles. Okay. You know, just real quick, Jessica Biel's, his wife, is purple blue. And I feel like she just gets very affected by things. And she tries to just disappear when things get really tough. And I feel like she's very sensitive about it. I think she's a lot more normal than a lot of Hollywood. I will say that for her. She feels like she's like, oh God, you know, just goes into protective mode of her family and stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
But then we wanted to talk about on the boy band spectrum.
Yeah. So you know,
explain this one. Go ahead.
Okay. There's very few shows I could watch these days. Like I said, the Dallas cheerleading show, I had to walk out after 20 minutes and I was, angry about that. But, one channel that I can watch for the most part, and it's coming, is HGTV.
HGTV.
And there's a show called Farmhouse Fixer.
I love this show.
Yes. And I think they did like a spinoff of Farmhouse Fixer. I don't know if it's a series or it was just a one-off. Mm-hmm. And basically I don't know that there's a designer. I don't know her name. I apologize. Yeah. And then there's Jonathan McKnight is the co-host.
Yeah.
Now, I did not know who that was. Right. I just thought, because it was a show where he had bought this camp and he was fixing up all these cabins around the camp. And I think one of the cabins used to be his grandfather's cabin. And he was going to try to turn these cabins into a business. Maybe it's still ongoing. I don't know. But all I saw was this like really kind of guy who really seemed very sensitive, really basically couldn't figure out anything. Yeah. Was so overwhelmed. Yeah. I did not know, by the way, at the time he was Jonathan McKnight, the leader of the boy band.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who is this guy? And I felt terrible for him because he basically couldn't figure anything out for himself. He needed all this help. And then you're like, wait a second, I know who that is. And I'm like, who? And you're like, is that the guy from The New Kids on the Block?
Yeah.
And that's how, so what's going on with that guy?
Oh, okay. So Farmhouse Fixer, if you've never watched it, is an awesome show because it's Jonathan McKnight and just his co-host Christina, who's a yellow aura. And they make old houses, they make them look haunted. Like, I don't know how else to say it. So I think it's like very much for our audience. But yeah, you're talking about, he has a spinoff called Farmhouse Fixer Camp Revamp.
Okay.
And this is how that conversation went. You and I are in bed with Abby between us and we're watching HGTV as we do. And Jordan McKnight's like, he can't put two sentences together. And he's like, wants to make this nostalgia camp or whatever. And I'm like, that guy's from NKOTB. And you're like, what's that? And I'm like, New Kids on the Block. No, he's not. I'm like, yeah, Megan, that guy couldn't even find his shoes. There's no way he's in New Kids on the Block. And this went on for like 10 minutes. And then I had to show you. And then his brother, Jordan is on the show too, because Jonathan McKnight is making like this nostalgia camp from his childhood, and you're like going like, "There's no way!" I mean, it's a great show if you watch it with aura colors in mind.
Well, yeah, I still don't believe it.
Yeah,
but yes, that's kind of how it went down.
Jonathan McKnight is indigo purple. And his brother Jordan's red purple, in case you care or know, or a child of the 80s. Like if you're not, you're like, who? But they're brothers, obviously. But Jonathan's like indigo purple, and he's like all over the place. Like, you ever been around somebody and they talk and they talk and they talk and they're like, and then we're going to do this and then we're going to do this, and but they just sit there and get nothing done?
Yes.
Yeah, that's him. Like, he's got a lot of ideas, but that's why he surrounds himself with like other people. They get all his ideas done. And then he sits and he's probably like, wow, look what I did. Amazing. Like that. It's like, dude, literally we had to send you out for coffee. You don't stop moving and telling us stuff but not help.
Right.
And then his brother's red purple. So he's just kind of more like in charge, and he's on there a little bit in the Camp Revamp show. It's like his whole family. Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting show because I noticed with HGTV, you and I have noticed this. I feel like they've been trying to put a little bit more personality, like authentic personality, into their programming.
Yes.
And so it's interesting to see kind of Jonathan McKnight, because to me, he looks a little messy and all over the place, but that's very indigo purple. I can't even believe that he was in a boy band.
No.
And I can't believe he has his own show. But if you ever see him on Farmhouse Fixer, he gets very emotional.
Yeah.
And he's very into like fixing up homes using pieces from the house, original pieces. He likes to, for example, he wants original flooring in the kitchen for this really old house. He'll go up to the attic and find it and put it in. That kind of stuff. Like, and then he gets like, he'll start crying when he sees it. He's like, oh, we use the original wainscoting, and he'll start to cry. And it's honest. Like, he's very sincere.
Well, I mean,
it's a great show.
The way they showed him on that show, he couldn't even put a shirt in a closet.
It's true.
He didn't know where to put things away, and he couldn't even tie his own shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I still don't believe that he was the head of a boy band.
Well, he wasn't at the head of it, but NKOTB. Donnie Wahlberg was. He's more the head of it.
Oh,
because Donnie Wahlberg and his brother Mark Wahlberg were the first members, but then Mark left.
Yeah, I mean, I got problems. I can't remember who was in Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC versus this one, New Kids on the Block. I can't remember.
That's okay, Scott.
But yeah.
All right, what do we talk about next?
All right, we'll take a little break. Then we're going to talk about Ellen Degeneres and Jojo Siwa.
Have you noticed that more and more women seem to be wanting to talk about hormone health or their experiences with their cycles or even menopause? I mean, hormones are a huge buzzword right now, but do you even know what that means or how to go about getting on that journey? Well, this next sponsor has made a huge difference in my own life. This podcast is sponsored by MixHers. From your first period to your first hot flash, MixHers is a nutritional supplement company that is with you every step of the way. MixHers started back in 2019 when CEO Jess Toulson had an unsuccessful search for postpartum period relief. After a ton of visits to the doctor and various medications, she turned to holistic health practitioner Cody Sanders, who created MixHers' first supplement to help balance hormones naturally. And I have been using Mix Hers. I've been using Her Time, which is one of their selections. And I have been using it for several months. And I will tell anybody who will listen in my life that they got to start using it. It has really downgraded many symptoms that were getting worse. Now they feel a lot more manageable. And it is delicious. It is easy to stick to a routine of Mix Hers because it tastes so good. Now is the time to try Mix Hers. Head to mixhers.com/KYA and use promo code KYA at checkout for an additional 10% off your order. Mix Hers rarely gives discounts, so 10% is the best offer you'll find. Remember to use my promo code KYA for an additional 10% off. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. Okay, so our next up, we have Ellen Degeneres. She's been in the news lately. She even came up on my Instagram feed, so this has got to be huge. Obviously, most people know about 2 years ago, her talk show got canceled, and, I think she got canceled.
Yeah.
And these are some of the quotes that she's been saying recently. I'll just read them for you.
Because she's on like a comedy tour.
Yeah, she's on a comedy tour.
And a Netflix special or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. These are quotes. This is the last time you're going to see me. I was kicked out of show business for being mean. Second time I've been kicked out of show business. So, these sound like kind of angry statements.
Yeah.
I guess. What are you picking up in her aura?
All right. So Ellen is yellow and indigo. So when she kind of got canceled in 2020, I think they, for allegations that her show was a toxic environment, that she wasn't nice or something. I don't know the specifics. But, I'm going to talk about an aura color. So everyone's like, indigos are nice. Okay. Here's the thing. I feel like what happened to Ellen was she had an amazing career a really long time ago. People don't know that. She had this really successful show called Ellen. And it was really good. It was such a great show. And then she came out as gay and they kind of got rid of her completely out of Hollywood. So that is the first time she got kicked out of Hollywood. And imagine that. Okay. She's yellow, she's smart, she's hardworking, she's funny, she's quick, she's witty, she's different. She tries new, and she's indigo. She's really sensitive. I think that makes a really good comedian, by the way. Somebody that is sensitive, somebody that does pick up on cues, somebody that does say things. Everyone else is like, oh my gosh, me too, me too. That was a big thing with her. She had a lot of comedy it wasn't nasty comedy. If you ever saw her stand-up specials from back in the day, it was never nasty comedy. It was like, hey, have you ever done this? Or you ever do this? Or, it was kind of relatable, sweet comedy that was really funny. And she comes out as gay and they just get rid of her. Nobody knew what to do with her. Her show kind of got swept under the rug and everything. I feel like she was pissed off and she took it personal. So when you're indigo, and again, words aren't excuses. They just explain behavior. But when I feel like indigos take things really hard, and I don't even know how an indigo shows up in show business, by the way. But I feel like her indigo took that personal. It's like, wow. When she's out there, she's an open book. Her energy was open for everyone to see. Here's my vulnerabilities. Here's my awkwardness. That was her humor. And that was her. So when she got kicked out, there was no protection. She got punched in the soul. And I feel like when she made her way back to daytime talk show, yeah, she probably was a little bitter. She probably was a little bit more protected. Her yellow was up. And I think that, and this is me and I don't know her, but I feel like the culture that she tried to create was to protect herself in her own show. So it was probably little things. I'm the boss. I'm not dealing with that. You handle it. She might have given other producers or something more leash, more rope than she should have. Maybe she should have been more on top of things, but she was like, I'm not dealing with that. You deal with that. I'm not going to tell this person, you go deal with that. Instead of, it was more about protecting herself than it protecting maybe the entire environment of people around her. Me as an indigo, I would have a problem with that. There's only so much bandwidth I have for boundaries. So it's possible she created an environment that was about her boundaries and not about anybody else's there, or maybe as far as she thought, And so I never would want to speak for her. That's just kind of what I pick up on this. So when she comes out and she's like, I'm retiring, in her special now. And she's like, this is the last time you're going to see me. I'm done. I think one audience member was like, what about Dory? Because we're all like,
oh yeah, she was
be Dory, like that. And then she said something like really kind of like, nope, bye-bye. That's it. Don't you understand? Like she's snarky, and it's coming off as jaded, bitter.
Yeah. And
it's coming off as, instead of like sweet and approachable and awkward, she's hurt. So it comes off wrong, and it's coming off as like, oh God, it doesn't work on her. And people are picking up on it, and they're like, why are you so bitter? Like that. I get why she's bitter. I get why she's jaded. I get why she could be angry about it. Like, I understand that from the Indigo point of view, it could be hard for her to see, hey, wait a sec, who did I affect?
Right.
And how can I make up for it or help them or speak to that or learn from it? I think that that's a really valuable lesson, even if you do feel it was unfair, that's something you could take from it. And I feel like she's just not doing that. She just sees it as a personal attack and a victimization. Okay. Anyways, so that's what I get in the aura situation. Yellows, they can create logic and receipts around things too. So she was probably like, I never said that. My producer said it. I never did that. That lady did that. I didn't do that, did it? She probably is right. She probably has like, here's my evidence why it wasn't me who did it, it was somebody else, or that wasn't my fault, or I didn't know. She probably has evidence to that fact, but that's not helpful when we're all like, yeah, but people's feelings were hurt, and like, you're the name on the show, so it is your fault, even no matter what. Right. The show's called Ellen. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of what she's missing there. Okay. But yeah, indigos can get a little bitter, man. Yeah. I mean, we all can, but indigos can get bitter. And that's why they want to go, and she's prepping us for the Indighost. Usually
she's announcing the Indighost. Yeah.
Yeah, she's yellow planning out her Indighost.
She's yellow planning out her Indighost.
Yeah, usually indigos just poof, but she's actually planning it out. So there we go. That's what I get. But then Jojo Siwa.
Yeah, well, Jojo Siwa. Now, right. It was only a few days ago that I realized that she was a person. No, and this is true. I know. This is true. I bought the doll not for me, for the kids when they were younger. I bought the JoJo.
Nobody thought it was for you when you said that.
Somebody did. Somebody's like, oh, he likes to buy dolls for himself.
Someone's like, creep.
Yeah. So yes, I bought the JoJo doll. I bought the hair clips.
Oh my God, the bows.
The bows.
Those huge bows.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was like buying like Barbie.
Yeah.
Like, buying a Barbie doll. Mm-hmm. I did not realize Jojo Siwa was a person.
We have a Jojo Siwa, Abby's kindergarten backpack and thermos were like Jojo Siwa themed.
Yeah. And I just thought it was like a brand, not a person. And then, just a couple days ago, they played me a song of hers, and I'm like, oh, that's Jojo Siwa's a person?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess she's a person.
She is.
And she's a little off kilter right now.
Remember that show Dance Moms that the kids sometimes have you watch? It's the most horrific show ever.
Yeah.
Like where that lady, it's kind of like Dallas cheerleader show, but with children.
With kids, yeah. Okay.
She was one of the kids.
All right, so she's a person.
Yeah, she's a real person.
She's a person. All right.
I know. I saw the Jojo Siwa doll. It's weird that you mentioned that because I was cleaning out the kids' closets, and there she is just laying on the floor. And I'm like, and I just had a moment. And I'm like, this is screwed up, man.
Yeah, I thought she was Rainbow Bright.
I know.
I thought she was like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Maybe because when the kids were young, I wasn't able to think like this. But now they're a little older, and I'm looking at this doll, and I'm like, who markets their kid into a doll?
Yeah,
like that would freak me out.
It's creepy. And I'm not the creepy one. The producers of this doll are the creepy one.
Yeah. Let's talk about Jojo Siwa's aura, because this is really interesting to me. All right, so she's yellow, purple, blue. She's a tricolor. But when you see her in the past, before she came out especially, she wears a pink, and it never felt right on her. It was like an inauthentic pink. I think that was her trying to be like a little girl, and kind of more of an ideal or like a fantasy space versus herself. And her mom's pink, kind of pink purple. Her mom's got, she's got some yellow in there too. Mom's like a lot. There's a lot. That would be a whole other thing. They're very close, I guess. But I feel like, with JoJo right now, because if you search her on if you have no idea what I'm talking about and you want to search her a little bit, there's a lot. And it's not good light. It's they say there's no such thing as bad press. I don't agree with that. If you're a sensitive person, there is. And she's just getting a lot of negative attention. I think she actually just signed for a reality show. There's going to be by the same producers of Dance Moms. So you know what angle they're taking with that. And I feel like it's just like negative attention she's just going to bank on that. And that's become her bread and butter. But I feel like she has dropped the inauthentic pink. But I feel like she's trying now to find out who the heck she is without that displaced energy that she was wearing and borrowing and trying to be for so long. And sometimes when people drop an inauthentic aura color in their healing from kind of just being inauthentic their whole lives, or meaning they're trying to be something they're not, or trying to fit a mold in order to make money or keep the family afloat, or God knows what responsibility she felt she had to do in that relationship, you're going to see them kind of start at a really immature age and move through it. And I feel like that's what we're seeing with JoJo. So there's a lot of, somebody's got to take the phone away from that girl. You know what I mean? Like it's just too much exposure. And to me, I worry about her falling into old traps. Like I feel like she's almost like searching for a new identity instead of trying to really be herself. So I hope she works that out and she has space to do that. But I don't know if she does, because honestly, it's a lot of outside of attention, and it's a lot of her constantly trying to funnel attention her way, no matter if it's negative or positive. And I feel like that's interfering with her ability to find her own self-worth. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, from my logical point, I'll take the counterpoint here and I'll go Justin Timberlake here again. You know, nobody's talking about Justin Timberlake does this thing in the Hamptons. Everyone's talking about Justin Timberlake. Maybe they're buying the tickets. Same thing with JoJo. I think her time had passed, right? Maybe her audience grew up.
Yes.
And they forgot about little Jojo Siwa doll. Kind of like in Toy Story, the doll they leave.
It's like Andy behind. Yeah, forgetting about.
Yeah. And now I think, and again, this is my opinion, for her at this point, it just, the attention, whether it is negative or positive, is enough, maybe.
Wow.
And I don't know that maybe she can't get the positive attention anymore. She has to change that brand to this kind of punky kind of brand. I'm angry
tough,
and mean and
she
tough.
Says off-putting things.
I'm going to say bad thing. I'm going to curse people out.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately with that comes negative. That's going to bring
trying too hard the other way.
Right.
Like she was trying really hard to be like this inauthentic pink color. She's being goody, girly, like that.
Right.
Now it's kind of like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think she knows what it is. I think she's just trying to be herself, but yeah.
That's what I think, yeah.
Just, it's a lot of patterns today with people finding their worth in outside opinions and attentions instead of themselves. But a lot of people are like, what's going on with Jojo Siwa? And like my own kids are constantly singing that song. So that's why I wanted to talk about Jojo Siwa.
All right. Well, up next, people who are definitely starving for attention, we have Love Island.
Does a smell ever just transport you back to being on the beach, perhaps during your favorite vacation? It's just amazing when you find a product which has a scent that just transports you to a sunny summer day. Well, for me, that's Osea's Undaria LJ body oil. It smells like summer, but I get that all year round. It's bottled, man, with an all-natural, uplifting note of mango, mandarin, grapefruit, lime, and cypress. But it's not just about the scent. This body oil is clinically proven to instantly improve skin elasticity and deeply moisturize, leaving skin silky and soft. And right now, you can get 10% off your first order with our code KYA at OseaMalibu.com. When I put on my Undaria LJ body oil, immediately my skin appears firmer. It glows. It's never greasy. It's a very rich body oil, but it's never greasy. My skin absorbs it immediately. People ask me like, "Oh, what'd you do?" Or, "Oh, you look so hydrated." And it is the body oil, and I always tell them that's what it is. You too can get healthy, glowing skin for summer with clean, vegan skin and body care from Osea. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code KYA at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. Head to OSEAMalibu.com and use code KYA for 10% off. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
So I got sucked in to the Aura Explosion, which is Love Island, season 6, Love Island USA.
Yes.
And Ariana Madix is the host. She's new. She's from Vanderpump Rules. She's the one that Tom cheated on.
Oh, okay.
All right. And
so she's moving up. Is this an upgrade?
This is totally an upgrade. She looks great.
Okay.
She's a great host. I mean, I realize, the show is very edited. Yeah. So that's my disclaimer to the auras a little bit, because, it's kind of like a bright, poppy show, and they're definitely showing you what they want you to see and stuff. But Ariana is the host, and I've talked about her, Pink, coming back, and she looks great. Like, she's just incorporating a lot of her own authentic energy. She looks really confident to me. When you say level up, I wonder if she's done with Vanderpump Rules. I don't know if that's happening or not, but it feels like she can stand on her own. I feel like just watching her in this, her energy is really strong. And I get this sense of her like, screw it, I don't need that anymore. I'm moving on.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. Well, this show, they tried to get me into it. I watched 20 minutes of the Dallas Cheerleaders. This one I watched for less than 3.
Oh, really?
I couldn't. No. It was. This is, as Bree said, this is like total brain rot.
It's brain rot.
I don't know what this is. I mean, I don't know anything about this show. Does she get with one of the people?
No, she's just the hostess.
Are you sure she doesn't get involved? Because that might be more interesting than the Vanderpump stuff.
So the premise of this is, I think, it's actually really interesting. They're stuck in this house.
Okay.
And they have to couple up. Otherwise you go home. So you have to be in a couple. And they have a recoupling every once in a while and whatnot.
Is there an odd number? So
always.
So I'd probably be the odd ball out, right? Is that what would happen to me on this show?
Oh, you're putting yourself in the show?
I'm on the island. I'm in the villa.
Well, let's talk in the villa.
The villa.
Because they'll have they had an even number to start, and then they keep adding bombshells is what they do.
Oh.
So a bombshell enters the villa, and then it just everybody messes up. It's like a whole thing. Okay. And the goal is to be at the end, like the last couple, there's an app you can download and the viewers vote. What's cool about it is they're in the villa, I think now, and they film it now. The people in the show have no idea what's happening in the outside world, like how much everybody likes it or is paying attention or whatever. And they kind of film it and then put the shows together once a week.
Okay. And this is my final question before we get into everyone's aura.
Mm-hmm.
When we get that final couple, we don't know who it is right now, but then does Tom come in and, you have the option to go with Tom from Vanderpump Rules.
That's right.
Or, let's say the couple.
I guarantee he's trying to get a piece of this somehow.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but he's too old. Like all these people are young.
They're younger. Okay.
They're all young.
All right.
But I wanted, go ahead.
Do you want to go through the people first, or you want to say?
Sure. I have to disclaimer, I've only watched 6 episodes. Okay. I just started this a couple days ago. It's very overwhelming. This is the cast so far.
Okay. And how many episodes are you behind?
I think it's on 22 or 24 at this point.
What?
Yeah.
There's 22 episodes of this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, you're way behind. All right.
I know.
All right. So the first one we have.
But I'm going to talk about aura colors and strategy. Some patterns I noticed for Love Island. That's what I wanted to talk about. But let's talk about their aura colors on the show.
And we don't know, there could be more bombshells coming.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
All right. I could be coming. All right. Janae.
Janae's red purple.
Okay. We have Coy.
Coy is red blue.
All right. Kaylor.
Pink yellow.
Aaron.
Purple blue.
Rob.
Okay, Rob, he's like a snake hunter.
Okay. He's a snake hunter?
He's green, purple, blue. But his green is like this shell. Like he's really he's interesting. He's kind of got like a boundary around him. He's very good at kind of like creating what people see. Let's put it that way. Okay. He's really good at that. But there's a lot behind. I think a lot of people think he's mysterious or interesting or they're attracted to him for this reason. But it's really just him kind of just being a little conniving.
And people would know like who Coy is and Aaron.
Yeah.
They know these people.
I mean, if you watch it, yeah.
Okay. Leah
is purple blue.
Hannah
is also purple blue.
Kendall.
He's purple, blue, and red.
Okay.
He's very I don't even know why he's there, that Kendall. So far, I'm only on
So they could be gone by now is what you're saying?
I don't, they could be. But like Kendall to me is like he feels very genuine. Okay. As genuine as you can be on the show. Okay. I feel bad for him.
Cordell.
Like, why are you here? Cordell's purple blue. He seems really nice too. Serena's yellow purple.
Liv
is purple red.
Okay, and then we got Hakeem.
Purple red.
Okay, then we have Connor.
Connor's yellow purple. So they got a yellow guy.
And the last one we have is Tom S.
Tom Sandoval.
Tom S.
That's funny. All right, so here's the thing with Love Island. What I noticed is, and I don't know because this is the first season I've ever watched, so it might be more interesting to talk about how Aura Colors play the game because there is, I think, strategy to get to the end. And one of the things is you have to be up front. Okay, so that's like a big thing that you can see already. Even I'm on episode 6. I'm like, the more double empath colors, they're gonna have a really hard time with this little weird rule or something. This unsaid rule. So the whole thing is like if you're coupled up with somebody, you're supposed to be honest. Like you're supposed to be like, I like you, you're my number one, but this other guy, he's a close second. Like you're supposed to be honest like that all the time. Now, to me, that feels mean. So a lot of like the ones that are like purple blue, I noticed like Hannah just got in trouble for this. Like she told someone, oh, you're 50-50. Like she didn't want to hurt his feelings. So she just kind of said, well, I like you just as much as I like him. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And then when it was time to choose who she wanted to be couple, she picked the other guy and the other one got really mad. He's like, why weren't you honest with me? So my thought is with Love Island, the reds are going to do well. The yellows are going to do well. The greens are going to do well. If you lead with your logic color, you're going to do a lot better than if you show up in there and you're kind of just like, I don't know. I just want everyone to be happy. And you're more interesting to watch probably because but they're going to make you kind of the bad guy, I can see, for being too emotional or leading people on. Or you're going to look like you're cheating or something.
Okay.
That's my thought so far with Love Island. So like I'm like watching the show and I'm like, oh my God, because Hannah's purple blue. I'm like, this chick just says whatever she thinks comes out of her mouth. And that's going to be a problem because they're all the other ones that are more quick with their logic colors. Like, hey, you weren't honest or you didn't say that correctly or that's not how we do it here or whatever. And that's mean. But I think for like someone who's purple blue, it's hard to say, I like you, but I like this person like 10% less or something. Like that's hard to say that.
So if you had to make a prediction, not who, because there could be more people coming on.
Yeah.
So what color would you say the winner? Because this seems like a game of strategy. It doesn't really seem about love. It seems more about
it's strategy. Yeah.
So what color would you say has the best chance of winning? Give me a percentage, please.
I have no, honestly.
I just put you on the spot.
Yeah, I have flipping no clue. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the guys who are really sensitive, like I noticed they get really mad at women for being logical. That's the other one I noticed on this. Like the more sensitive guys, like they were getting really angry about women being upfront or honest. Or trying to say like, well, I like you, but I also have to make sure that you're not my only option in case we don't work out. So I noticed that guys don't like when girls play the game. So girls who play the game best are the ones that are acting more emotional or something. Or, so I would say like a purple blue girl might actually do well in this one.
Okay.
And then possibly some sort of green combo guy might do well.
Okay. Well, I have to say, of all the things in the world, this is probably the thing I care about the least.
Literally,
I don't understand. I just have a couple of questions. After I just said
I only watched 6 episodes.
How long is each episode?
It's like an hour.
So you're saying, and then how long are they in this villa?
I have no idea.
So
they say the summer.
So you're telling me that there's been 22 episodes.
I think so.
So they have 22 hours of footage of these people and all their nonsense?
I guess so.
That's insane.
Yeah. They get real, like, they start off, the conversations are really, these people are really good talkers. I'll give them that. Like, I feel like they cast people that if you put them in front of an armadillo, they could have like a full-on freaking conversation. Okay. And you'd be like, oh, wow. How, like, they ask questions. They talk about anything. Like, they're the type, they're like, oh my God, you like the color blue? I like the color blue. Oh my God, soulmates, let's make out. Like, it's very, these people see, it starts off as a little simple. But then I can see it getting just more, they're stuck in the villa. They can't leave. You know, their energies get a little more frazzled as it goes on. Like, I'm on episode 6. I start seeing people kind of, they're breaking a little, you know? So it's kind of interesting to see people in this atmosphere because, you know, the producers have them totally locked up and not telling them any information. And you're basically watching people go crazy on TV. And so their aura colors are going to start acting like nuts.
Do you feel that you'll get through all these episodes? Or you're done?
I'm going to skip the recap episodes.
Okay.
Because there's like recap ones. And I'm just going to kind of like go. I'm going to plod through. It's not hard to watch. Honestly, I'll put them on before I fall asleep. And then I just kind of dream. Like last night, I put it on and I dreamt I was in the villa. And it wasn't like the worst dream.
Oh. Okay.
You know, it was just me though. They're very easy shows to watch. Like if you just don't want to think.
All right. So we probably will be getting an update on our next pop culture episode, possibly, of what's going on the island.
I think it's going to get deeper for me. I'm only on episode 6. I think it's going to get really interesting. It's going to get deeper. You're going to see people evolve and change and shift. I think you're going to see people's energies act dramatically in different ways.
All right. Take a quick break. We have one more segment on owning Manhattan.
I have learned that shampoo and conditioner cannot be a one-size-fits-all situation. You have to customize to your individual hair. Way wants to give you the confidence to live life your way, especially on wash day. Whether your strands are fine, medium, or thick, Way has shampoo and conditioner that is your type. From volume and shine to deeply hydrating, Way helps you find your way to good hair days every single day. I love Way's products because they have a solution for anything. It has become a salon experience in my everyday life for my hair. Using their hair quiz that I took, I found out that I do best with the thick hair shampoo and conditioner. My hair feels so much more hydrated and easy to style and manage since I've been consistently using their products. So you might want volume if you have fine hair, and they have a fine hair and conditioner that will give you a lift without weighing you down. Sometimes you have in between fine hair and thick hair. You can wash your hair to a happy medium with medium shampoo and conditioner, or perhaps like me, and you need those thick strands to have the hydration they deserve with their thick hair shampoo and conditioner. If you're not sure what your type is, go take the hair quiz to find out. You can stock up and save on your favorites with their 32-ounce shampoo and conditioner refill pouches. Wash your way to healthier hair with shampoos and conditioners made just for you. Go to THEOUAI.com and use code AURA for 15% off your entire purchase. That's THEOUAI.com, code AURA. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, so our last segment is going to be on the Netflix show Owning Manhattan, kind of like a spinoff. It used to be $1 Million Listing
on Bravo.
And then I think that was canceled a few years back.
Right.
And Ryan, the lead real estate agent of Ryan Serhant.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same production company. So I'm sure.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
It's the same production company as $1 Million Listing.
Yes.
So I'm sure as soon as that show got canceled, Ryan was pitching for this show the day it got canceled. And now here it is on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And let's call Overtime.
Okay, this is Overtime. I don't know how many people watch. It's a very popular show on Netflix.
Yes.
So if you watch the show,
right,
then you'll know.
But I got some things I want to say.
Okay.
So I'm going to call it Overtime.
All right.
And then just explain what Overtime is, and then we can get on with it.
Rules of
I'm talking like Ryan right now.
Rules of Overtime is you can go now. Like I don't know what Scott's gonna say, and he's been like really holding this in. And Overtime is just where we kind of just go off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been asked to watch these shows for the podcast. Like I said, I got through 20 minutes of Dallas Cheerleaders. I could make it through 3 minutes of Love Island.
Yeah.
And I've made it through, I think,
5
episodes of Owning Manhattan. But my journey is ending there.
Oh, no, come on. We only have 3 episodes left.
Take it anymore. It's too phony for me.
Okay.
The whole thing is phony. But before we get into all the phoniness and all the nonsense of the show, we have to start with Ryan Serhant's aura.
Yeah.
He is actually a very interesting character. Very unique. What's his colors?
Ryan is green and purple. He wears a lot of yellow. Actually, I wonder if his mom was yellow or something. I'd have to look into that. But I think with Ryan Serhant, the purple's a lot. So he definitely has like theater kid vibes. He's definitely extremely, I feel like he thinks everything out. He's very much in the moment. I feel like he said he tried to be an actor, which totally makes sense because I think he's acting a lot. And maybe Sal's is acting, but he does it in a way that feels genuine. So I think that is what you're seeing in this show feels to me like some sort of machine. So he has an image, his Serhant image, his Ryan Serhant image. This is I feel like he's always had that. This is his baby. This is his vibe. This is, again, the place where he created, and he wants to create his own universe within it. And you see he has his own little production company. If you go on his website, he's got his own marketing company. So it's like he markets himself. He films himself. It's real estate. Like this show feels to me like just a big promotional video for his real estate company where he can show off that, also he does like business coaching, by the way, for people. And he, sells real estate. He's got this, he's got his production. So it's like I do it all. Like he definitely has MLM boss babe vibes
definitely,
to me.
Definitely.
Like he feels to me like if you meet him, it's kind of like meeting like one of those CEOs of one of those MLM companies. You're like, whoa. And he's like, yeah, if you want to be like me, you might have like all this money and a driver and new suits, cause like a lot of that, he feels like he always has stories and little parables and whatnot, and people are like, oh, and you see like his little followers are like, Ryan said, according to Ryan noticed me. It's like this, he created a place where he's God and everyone is just vying to be in his light.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no difference here that with the Dallas Cheerleaders, the owners and those 2 ladies that we were talking about earlier.
Right.
There's really no difference.
Like being a cowboy cheerleader, that's like, ooh, wow. Or being one of Serhant's real estate agents is like, whoa, I work for Serhant Realty or whatever. Like, like that's supposed to mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Like that, like, oh, wow. Like if somebody hears that, the goal is, whoa, you work for that guy? That's amazing. Whoa, that's crazy. Wow, you must be good. Yeah. So Scott, I always joke with you that you really can't be sold anything. Like it is truly your talent. If like the second somebody tries to sell you something, like
shut down.
You do.
Yeah.
It's great. Like Girl Scout cookies. Like you're just like, no. Like it has to be your idea. Otherwise it's not happening.
Yeah.
So you watch it. So, and it's funny because like with real estate and stuff like that, even when we're watching House Hunters or whatever, I noticed that you can't stand pitches or any. I don't even. It's hard.
No.
How do you take this show?
Well, I used to watch when it was on $1 Million Listing. Not, if I caught it, and I always found it interesting.
You did.
I did, and I always found they followed 3 real estate agents at that time, and he was one of them, and I always found him interesting. So I said, all right, you know what? I will give this one a chance, and I watched the first episode, and I actually liked it. The first episode I actually liked because it really it took what he was doing. It showed Ryan and, how he operates, and it was setting the stage, and he had this like $250 million property that he was showing to people.
It's crazy.
And I found it very interesting. But as the episodes went on, it got worse and worse and worse.
Why?
Because they are selling me a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
The whole show is phony.
Yeah.
Like, and so and here's the thing, as a red, or maybe just this is just me, I don't like to be fooled. I don't like when people, and this is why I don't watch reality TV, by the way, because they're fooling you.
Yes, it's true.
And I can't handle it. So like if they put on a disclaimer at the beginning of every episode that said, this is not real, this is not really how it works, these storylines are made up for this show, and only X% of this show is actual reality, which is maybe like 10, then I could watch it, because then I would know that they're not trying to dupe me. Like, because the show to me is like, you're like insulting my intelligence by having me think that you think I think this is real.
And let me explain back this. So I have this ability on House Hunters too. I can, because they show you the 3 houses. This is just an easier way to describe it. I always know which one is, because by the way, on House Hunters, there are 2 properties. They already know what house they're buying. And I hate to ruin it for you, but that's how House Hunters works. Like, and so my fun of watching House Hunters is like, that's the Airbnb, that's the fake rental. Oh, that's the one they already got. That's the one they're moving into. This show is the same thing. It's like, I'll watch it like, oh my God, that's like not real. That's not real. Like, that's not real. Like, or that already happened. So, and once you just notice it, because anybody can do this. Once you notice it, you realize like, oh my gosh, all these properties are just probably staged or not real, or that's not how it's working or whatever. And you can kind of pick up on it.
You can. And of course, then I have to get yellow on this and prove that this is phony. Because I know in my head it's phony, but then it's just me saying it's phony. So how do I prove that? So I have to look up everything. So then I go and I look up, does he actually have a real estate agency? He does. Is he number 6? Because he always says, we're number 6 in New York. He is number 6 in Manhattan. But he's not on the other list. So if you go to the other boroughs of Manhattan, he's not on there. They're not like 6 in Queens or anywhere else. So yes, he is 6 in Manhattan. That part is true. Then I'm looking, okay, are these really the agents that he's working with every day? So meaning like now that, I don't know if they're filming season 2 or not, I don't know if they got renewed, but on the day-to-day, are these the people that are selling the properties in Manhattan? And if you go onto their website, I don't think so. These are not the people that are doing the date. Maybe a couple of them are, a few of them, but these were obviously people that were casted by the producers. Maybe they had a small role in the company. Maybe they just brought them onto the company for the show. I don't know, but they are not selling. The
There's
real estate.
Hundreds of agents.
There's hundreds of agents. They picked these couple clowns, Jessica, who was it? Jessica.
Oh my gosh, Jess Markowski and Jonathan. I don't know how to say his name. It's like Normal or something.
Okay, so these 2, then I had to go look into them. They have a fake podcast. We could get into that. They got fake Instagram accounts. They got the fake likes going. They got the whole thing fake. It's all phony. And they're putting these 2 people on like pedestals, like they sell millions and millions of dollars of real estate. And they expect me to believe it. And it's just not true.
I think I personally can watch a show and appreciate it for just the entertainment they're trying to provide me.
No, I know. Yes.
And you can't.
I can't.
And that's the difference.
That's the difference.
Like, I don't go to a Disney movie and be like, fish don't talk. You know what I mean? To me, it's the same thing.
No. See, I'm okay with that because it is fiction. Like, if they would just say, like, just a disclaimer, this is fiction at the beginning, then I could watch it.
I see this as this is Ryan's promo series for his own self-life company vibe brand.
Of course.
And I appreciate it as such. Like, he's got a YouTube channel. And this just feels like an extension of that to me. Like, it's just his hype videos so they have to create drama,
of course,
and they have to create the fabricated drama. But I know you can't handle it.
I can't handle it.
You just don't like it.
I just can't.
There's this one part where these 2, Jess and Jonathan, they're like, I have Jonathan's like, I have a podcast. It's called Next Gen, and we interview disruptors. Disruptors in the industry. They're just so full of it. This is how we do things. It's Next Gen. So I'm like, come on, because we have a podcast, right?
So let's find it. I want to see this podcast.
So I'm like, all right. So I go on iTunes. There's no podcast there. I go on Spotify. There's no podcast there. I go on YouTube. There is the podcast. As of today, it has 11 subscribers. And the only episode is the 9-minute episode filmed last year that they reference in the episode that we watched that just, where they just slammed everybody. It was created for drama. Sure. So it's not real. He doesn't interview disruptors. Of course, what I mean? It was obviously produced by the show. They were like, here's some podcast time to sit there with Jess and just talk crap about everybody. Right. And that's what they did.
Get a storyline.
And then I think the reactions of a lot of the people were authentic. Yeah, that could insulted. But Ryan knew what was going on.
Of course.
But actually that Jonathan, spoiler alert, gets fired.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, I'm done watching.
Okay, so he gets fired. Yeah. And he is now talking. He's basically saying that the show is fake. Just, news, no news.
Which I did.
Flash here, Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously. He's saying, it's all fake and it was all produced drama and stuff. And, he's out there being, it's not a good look, but that's what he's doing.
All right, well, we could run through these people's colors.
Oh, yeah.
Just you have them all listed here, so might as well.
I did.
All right, so Jonathan, who is totally phony on this show, I looked into his account. It's totally phony.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So he's green and purple. And let me just go through. This is the funniest part. This is the irony of the whole thing. Okay. They have this Jess Murkowski.
Yeah.
And what is she? What colors is she?
She's yellow turquoise.
Yeah, yellow turquoise. Wears a little pink. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because on the show, they had her win an award for the best influencer in social media marketing for real estate. I don't even know what award this was.
It was a made-up award.
Total made-up nonsense award. I go into this account. I'm like, okay, let me look.
Oh, wow. You really?
Yeah. Because I'm dead. I told you I yellowed out. This got me so angry that they're trying to fool me.
What are you doing this?
I was watching it. Okay. I was like, as I was watching it, I'm like, they're trying to fool me. I have to prove them wrong.
Okay.
And it's a total fake account. It's total BS.
Okay.
So
what's this award?
No, the award might be a real award.
It
but
was
her
weird. It was
best
social media influencer in real estate ever.
Let me explain
A++, you're the best.
My social media account is better than hers. Okay. All right. Then we have, I don't even know who these people are, but all right, here we go. Chloe Tucker Kane.
Yeah.
What color is this?
Oh, she's the one. She's got the brunette hair and she's got the dog all the time.
They all have a dog.
She's purple blue.
They all have dogs now, I think, right?
She does, and then I think Jess has one.
Okay, then we have Niall.
Niall's the bald guy.
Okay.
He's like red purple. He's very sales guy.
Yeah. Him, I could actually believe that he possibly does work there.
Okay.
I believe that he works there.
Okay.
All right. The others I do not.
No, Chloe works there. She
does work there?
Well, she's on the list. They're all on the list of realtors. Not all of them. I only checked.
Some of them.
I only got to. There's so many that I looked up to letter E because it's alphabetical, and it took me 10 minutes to look through everyone. You can go to the website and see who's a real realtor there, but
all right, we have Trisha Lee. I'm not sure who that one is.
Oh yeah, she's the one who had the nail salon, and they gave her the Brooklyn Tower.
Oh, okay.
That one. She's yellow purple.
Okay, Jade Schenker.
Jade's the one that says she's a socialite. She's purple, pink, and yellow.
Of course she is. All right.
She's having issues with her husband or something. I don't know. Okay. On the show.
And then Jordan Hurt.
Jordan Hurt's blue purple. That's Ryan's assistant or his old assistant or whatever. He's funny. Okay. He's really funny.
Yeah, he's funny. He's funny on the show.
He's really cute. Yeah. So, that's owning Manhattan. I liked it. I'm going to finish it.
I don't think I can finish it. Maybe I will.
Interesting. You're going to totally finish it. So, Scott, in terms of real estate agents, what would be your favorite real estate agent?
You're saying out of this list of people we just went through, who am I going to pick?
Sure.
All right. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not picking any of them.
Okay. That's fair.
I'm picking a guy named Abe.
Oh, God.
Love Abe. Okay. He's better than Sirhan. Better than Sirhan. Abe.
Abe is all right. Abe's a real person here.
Yeah.
Actually, did he die?
He could have died.
I think he passed.
Yeah, he passed.
Oh, this is so sad.
Oh, this is bad.
When we moved down,
it's overtime.
It's overtime. Yeah. 13 years ago. How many? We've been here since
13 years. Yeah.
It's been all right. 13 years ago, when we were looking for homes down here, Scott's parents had this real estate agent named Abe, and he was the only real estate agent I feel like Scott and his dad would ever work with. And he didn't speak.
No.
He did not speak. He'd open the door to the house and then just walk out. And that was it.
That was it.
And then that was his sales pitch.
Yeah.
And then we'd walk around.
Yep.
You know, and Scott's parents were like looking with us. So we'd all walk around. And at the end, like he didn't even ask, how was it?
Yeah.
He was just like, okay.
You would either nod to him like, hey, can we see another property? And you kind of got a response and you kind of didn't.
Yeah, you don't know.
You don't know.
You know, maybe.
Like 3 days later, he might call you and be like, another property.
He didn't even have ideas.
No,
I think your dad, who's yellow, was like, these are all the properties I want to see.
Yeah.
And Abe's like, okay.
Yeah.
And that was it.
He just stood on the sidewalk.
And of course, that's who we made the deal through. Yeah. Because he didn't even come in.
He was great.
He was like, there it is.
Best
like,
realtor.
Whatever. I
realtor.
think I might have asked him a question about something and he just shrugged. And you just loved that.
I loved it.
You just loved it. Like he was like, I don't know, figure it out. I don't know. You know, and like that was just like perfect. He didn't care.
Yeah.
He's like, buy it, I don't care.
Right. Great.
That was it. But he was like one of the top real estate agents, but believe it or not, because like people move down here and you think they move to these 55 and older communities. It's so weird down here. There's communities and you have to be 55 or older to live in them. Like, I know. And they have their own newsletters and stuff. And he was in them. Yeah. Full page. Abe. Like, and he did so well.
It was just like a picture of him and his wife.
Yeah.
And he would put it in the 55 and older communities out here are called Valencias.
Yeah.
And he was like in every Valencia.
All of them.
And everyone loved Abe. Yeah.
It works.
Look, Ryan, you might think you're number 6 in Manhattan, but Abe was number 1 in 55 and older communities in Boynton Beach. So beat that, Sirhan. Beat that, Sirhan.
Can you imagine him giving like a TED Talk about how you sell a house?
Yeah.
He just stand up there and just shrug. He's like, oh, yep. There it is. And people just start clapping.
Yeah. And he didn't need to buy a $30,000 blue suit. So
no, that's a whole other thing.
Did he have pants? Did he even wear pants?
He just wore like the uniform down here, which is like Bermuda shorts and some sort of floral button down.
All right.
All right. This podcast is for you and about you. And we're so glad you spent some time with us today.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app or click the link in the show notes.